Well, hold on to your terrible towels, because some hot news just dropped from the Steel City. Look, you won't hear this talk just anywhere, only here in the huddle of the Black and Gold Nation. The week kicked off with a story that hits right in the heart of the fan base, stirring up memories of the Steel Curtain while also building anticipation for the future. We're talking about heavy-duty changes, big decisions, and even unexpected names swirling around the locker room. Now, the big question is, can all of this redefine the direction of the season? Or are we just going to repeat old mistakes? Did you know that over 90% of the people who watch Steelers News Central still aren't subscribed? It's unbelievable, right? They watch, they like it, but they forget to hit that button. You can be different, my man. It's quick, it costs you nothing, and it helps this grassroots channel grow so much. So don't wait around, click now and subscribe. Wait a second, let me give you the full breakdown. Will Howard, the kid we were eyeing as a key piece of the future, is already creating headaches. A hand injury puts him out for at least 4 weeks, and the fan chatter has already started buzzing in the online fan groups. But now, a glimmer of hope has appeared. He was back throwing the ball this week. It's not a showstopper yet, but let's be real. Just seeing the kid progress already lifts the mood, because everyone knows that practice tempo is different from game tempo, and losing reps in camp doesn't help anyone. To be honest with you, Jack Romano doesn't easily buy into this developmental year idea. I know that's the official narrative, that he came to learn from Aaron Rodgers, and it even makes sense. Rodgers is Rodgers. He's won everything. He knows every detail of the field. But the truth, my friend, is that when you put on the black and gold, the Steel Nation doesn't want to hear about a learning year. They want results. They want the ball on the field. They want to see fire in their eyes. And that's where things get complicated, because if Howard develops quickly, pressure will build. Now look at the situation. They placed the kid on IR, freed up a roster spot for veterans, and Skylar Thompson got a new lease on life. This guy showed some good stuff in the preseason, yeah, but let's be frank. He's the typical third-string QB who might get in a garbage-time game but isn't going to save the season. So if Howard really recovers sooner, Pittsburgh will have a tough decision. Do they keep Thompson just to hold the fort, or do they make room again for the promising rookie? And you know what just came to my mind? The memory of when we had that pride in the Steel Curtain, when every player had to fight for their spot. This Howard dilemma seems small compared to that era, but it represents something similar, a choice between immediate experience and betting on the future. The difference is that now we have Rodgers, a veteran who hogs the spotlight and brings short-term comfort. But what if that plan goes sideways? What if Rodgers doesn't deliver what's expected? Then, my friend, the heat is on, and the fan clamor for Howard will be deafening. I'm also thinking about the front office. Omar Khan and Tomlin must be weighing every word, every move. Nobody wants to cut Thompson and risk losing the guy without getting him back on the practice squad. But if Howard shows he's 100%, you can't hide talent on the bench. This is the kind of dilemma that only a true dyed-in-the-wool Steelers fan faces, always on that fine line between tradition and pragmatism. Anyway, hold on to this. The Howard saga is just beginning, and the next chapter could involve decisions that directly impact the season. Do you agree with me, or do you think the kid should stay on IR all year? Drop a comment below. I want to hear the voice of the nation. And stay tuned, because the next story is about the offense, and it might surprise you even more. You know when you expect a big signing and then find out the train isn't even stopping at your station? Yep, my friend, that's what happened with this Kendrick Bourne situation. The guy was a free agent after being cut by the Patriots, and the fan base started to dream. Is he coming to the black and gold? But get this, it looks like it never even crossed his mind. The guy already has visits scheduled with the 49ers and the Commanders, and even contract parameters already in motion. In other words, while the Steel Nation was hoping for at least a look, the ship sailed right by. To be honest with you, I kinda get it. Bourne has a history, he suffered a serious injury, he's looking to get back on track, and it makes sense to look at teams he already knows or that are hyped up, but it bothers me. You know why? Because it shows we've lost a little bit of that appeal. Back in the day, every player wanted to wear the black and gold jersey, to feel the weight of playing at Three Rivers. Now Acrisure, but you get it. Now it seems like some prefer other stages, and it's not like Pittsburgh isn't looking for help. The front office even tried. They had Gabe Davis in for visits twice, but they ran into medical issues. They also brought in Jonnu Smith, which helps, but he's a TE. He doesn't solve the wide receiver depth problem. And the reality is that without this help, our receiving core is pretty limited. One slip-up, one injury, and the offense becomes way too predictable. Then it gets tough for the veterans, and even for Rodgers, who can't work miracles alone. In the Steel Nation fan groups, people are divided. Some say, it's better not to risk it on a banged-up veteran. Let's bet on what we have. Others are furious. How do they let an experienced guy slip away like this without even trying? Jack Romano, confess I'm in the middle. Because I know Bourne could have helped, yes, but I also know he wouldn't be a magic solution. But the message is clear. If we keep just watching from the sidelines, we're going to miss out on more options. And later, when the season gets tough, all that will be left is regret. The detail that stings is that insiders have already confirmed. For now, the front office isn't looking for a wideout either via trade or via free agency. Okay, it could be a strategy, but honestly, the impression it gives is one of passivity. And when you're a true fan, used to aggressive teams, that gets you fired up inside. Because look, we know when a roster is ready and when it's not, and this WR core is still missing a piece. Now you tell me, will Pittsburgh give in and go after someone by force? Or will they stick to, we're going with what we have? Comment below because this discussion needs to echo loud. And pay attention because the next story involves a name that might be closer than we think. And that's a game changer. Check out this interesting topic. While the front office seems to have its arms crossed, Brandon Powell's name has come up. And it's not an empty rumor either. The guy is a free agent after a stint with Minnesota, a short, cheap contract like $2 million a year, but only $625K guaranteed. In other words, it fits the budget without hitting the cap. And for a team that needs offensive depth, Powell isn't just a stopgap. He's the type of player who can deliver right away, both on short routes and on special teams, returning the ball with discipline. And you know well, the nation values players who contribute in more than one area. To be honest with you, when I saw this rumor, I thought, this is exactly the profile that Tomlin likes. A versatile player who doesn't complain about a secondary role but comes ready. And I'm not talking about a promise. Powell has experience. He knows how to change his pace on the field. He has a good understanding of game situations. In a season where our ground game hasn't taken off yet, and the air game depends a lot on the primary targets, a guy like this could be the difference maker. You know what's funny? The WR coach, Zach Azzanni, has shown many times that he likes consistency and mental toughness. Powell brings that. And the offense led by Arthur Smith needs exactly the pieces that won't complicate things, that give Rodgers a safe option. Not a star, but someone who shows up on third downs, who makes the clean play. It's the kind of silent signing that changes the course of a campaign. People in the fan groups commented that Powell even had a recent workout with the Giants, which proves he's still on the league's radar. This shows that it's not just talk. The guy is active, available, and looking for a spot. And we know, when Omar Khan feels he can spend little and get an immediate return, he at least evaluates it. That's how he works, in a cold, calculating way. And in this case, it would make a lot of sense. Jack Romano, confess I would love to see Powell in black and gold. He wouldn't be the name that makes headlines, but he would bring balance. Because let's remember, the steel curtain of the past wasn't just made of superstars, it was made of pieces that completed each other. Powell would be another one in this modern puzzle. Now, whether Khan and Tomlin will make a move, that's another story. But if they stand still, don't be surprised if he signs with another team and then we're left with that "we should have brought him in" feeling. So tell me, my friend, do you think Powell fits the spirit of the Steel Nation? I want to see what the fan base has to say about this. And hold on tight, because the next story brings a twist with a familiar name already on the roster. Now hold on to this one, because a bomb is coming from inside the locker room. The Steelers have decided to part ways with wideout Brandon Johnson. That's right, the guy who was getting attention in training camp, showing heart, ended up leaving with an injury settlement. He got hurt in the last preseason game against the Panthers, a foot problem, and then he was released with an injury settlement. In practice, he's off the roster and free to sign with any team as soon as he's healthy. It's sad, right? Because the fan base was already starting to look at him with affection, that type of hard-working player who is fighting for a spot. To be honest with you, I'm torn. On one hand, I get it. The roster has a limit. You can't keep everyone, and if the guy's in the infirmary, it opens up a spot for someone who can contribute now. On the other hand, it hurts a little because Johnson had left a good impression. In practice, he showed energy. He showed that drive we like to see in people who wear black and gold. He wasn't a star. He didn't have flashy stats, but he seemed like one of those guys who fit the Steel City team spirit. It even reminded me of old times when players would come out of nowhere, undrafted, and win over the fan base with their hustle. Johnson even has that story. Undrafted, he worked hard in Denver, then came to Pittsburgh. He played little last year, just 3 games, 1 reception, 9 yards. But he was there, in the fight, trying to carve out a spot. This is the kind of narrative that a true fan likes because it reminds them of the Steel Curtain culture. Sweat, persistence, no easy path. In the Steel Nation groups, the reaction was mixed. Some said, "Oh, it's normal, he wouldn't have made a difference." Others lamented, saying he deserved more time, at least to recover. And look, I understand both sides. But the feeling that remains is of yet another cut that shows how unstable our receiving core still is. Every departure matters, because we already lack depth. It's like we're dismantling the little we've gained in the name of immediate adjustments. I, Jack Romano, say this. If Johnson recovers soon and signs with another team, I wouldn't be surprised if he shines over there. It's happened before. It always happens. And then we're left looking foolish, remembering that we had the guy on the roster and let him slip away. I hope I'm wrong, but this storyline usually repeats itself in the NFL. Anyway, my friend, the truth is that this decision reinforces the urgency of looking at the market. With each departure, the gap between what we have and what we need gets bigger, and if the front office doesn't make a move, it might be too late. And look, in a little bit, I'm going to wrap all this up in a conclusion that will tie the four stories together in a way that will hit the Steel Nation right in the feels. Oh, my brother, look at the weight of these last few news stories together. It's like a roller coaster in the Steel City. A rookie QB trying to find his place, a veteran WR ignoring Pittsburgh, another accessible name knocking on the door, and finally, a cut that leaves a bitter taste. It's a snapshot of a team on the edge between the glorious past of the Steel Curtain and the uncertainty of the present. But hey, if there's one thing that never changes, it's the strength of the Black and Gold Nation. So drop a comment, because this is the home of the real fans. And get ready, because the next content is coming in hot.